Howdy, y'all. I'm the raw vegan cowboy. It was always hotter than the grease she used to fry that chicken. Smelled like Marlboro Reds and all the butter from her biscuits. Looking in the driveway, circa 1982, on the shiny side of rusty and the pale side of blue. Fussing and complaining weren't allowed at Mama's house. Every nightstand had a Bible, every front porch had a swing, every backyard had a garden, every front door had a stream. Well, maybe this crazy world straighten up, slow on down. Every town had a Mama's All right. Just having a little fun. Tonight I'm making another eggplant thing. Let's take a look. Oh. Where's my camera icon? There we go. Wowie zowie. Okay, so the other night I made these little things, those little dehydrated eggplant slices. And I got these big fat eggplants and I cut them up real good, and I thought I was going to make little pizzas, but guess what? They're too small. So they're kind of crispy now. They're like chips. These are eggplant chips. I mean, you can make little pizzas out of them if you want. I'll make a little pizza out of one. Anyways, let's see what the foodscape looks like tonight. On our right, we have some rambutans, and we've got some light cheese. So that's to warm up the palate, get it all ready for what's ahead. Then we got a nice little mushroom we can dip in guacamole and hot sauce. Okay, we're going to slice that baby up. Goes into the guacamole, goes into the hot sauce. And then we got our eggplant, of course, and we have some shredded lettuce over here. And this is the this is the guacamole. I left the seed in there just to keep it fresh, keep it from getting bad. What does it have in it? It's got the usual garlic chives, green onions, celery, tomatoes. It's got some sun-dried dehydrated tomatoes, which are right here. These are tomatoes I dehydrated in my dehydrator, obviously. I don't know where else you would dehydrate them. And what else has it got? It's got some jalapeno pepper and some chili flakes, some pizza hot chili flakes, hot pepper flakes. Over here I got a big, huge bowl of hot sauce. Yeah, baby. This hot sauce has exactly the same ingredients in it, except there's no guacamole, there's no avocado. It's just all tomatoes and lime juice. That's the other thing that was in here, lime juice. So I got two different sauces. One is guacamole, one is hot sauce. They have exactly the same ingredients except for the base. The base in one is tomatoes, the base in the other is guacamole. And that's about it. Over here on the left I have a durian, but my durian is just observing what's going on. It's not going to get eaten tonight. This was given to me by Pam Lee from Pam Lee Produce. She gave it to me because it's cracked and nobody's going to buy it. So she put a rubber band around it. And this is about probably a $40 to $50 piece of fruit right here. Beautiful durian. And that is like gold to me. That's the king of fruits, durian. Very expensive. It's like $6, $7 a pound or some ridiculous thing like that. And these things are heavy. So you can see why it costs so much. Back here I have avocados. They're falling off my tree right now. So this is the spread. This is my dinner for tonight. You know, I may just take one of these like this. Let me put this over here and switch the camera around and drop it down so you can see what's going on. So one of the things I can do with this is make little whatevers. I don't know what you would call these. You take one of the fatter, bigger pieces of dehydrated eggplant, put a sun-dried tomato on it, or a dehydrated tomato, sprinkle some lettuce on it, and then put a little spoonful of avocado, guacamole, and some hot sauce over the top. And guess what? You've got a little thing that you can bite right into, which I'm not going to do right at the moment. But tell me, does that look good? That's a little, what would you call that? An open-faced guacamole sandwich. Eggplant guacamole sandwich. I will say again that this is not a properly combined meal. You shouldn't really combine avocado with, which is a fat. By the way, there's 3 macronutrients. There's fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Okay? You don't combine fat with carbohydrates. It just doesn't work. But I'm doing it anyways because I've allowed myself once a week to break the food combining law. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, yeah, I can eat it this way, or we can just dip these, or just forget the lettuce and put some avocado on there and some hot sauce and chew on them like that. And then I got a mushroom out here, which I can slice up, and also I can dip in here. So if I'm not satisfied by the end of this meal, I don't know what's going to satisfy me. But yeah, once again, this is, I won't eat a whole lot of this guacamole, you know, because it's fat. That's about 3 times what I'll eat in one day in terms of fat. And the whole thing about fat is if you're eating carbohydrates like this, and also fruit, well, high-density sweet fruit like bananas, then you got to keep your fat intake to 10% of your total calories, right? So why do we do that? Well, back in the 50s, it was discovered scientifically through research that if you consume more than 10% of fat in your calories, and at the same time you're consuming carbohydrates, you know, like bread, pasta, potatoes, wheat, you know, all that kind of stuff, that the fat prevents the glucose from those complex cooked carbohydrates from leaving your bloodstream and getting into your muscles to fuel your body. Now, your entire body runs on carbohydrate sugar, which is called glucose. So somebody like me with my diet, I get all my carbohydrates from fruit most of them, although starchy vegetables have a few carbohydrates in them, yeah. But mostly I get it from high-density sweet fruit, things like durian, bananas, papayas, meme sapote, stuff like that. Very thick, dense, very high calorie. So I eat a lot of that during the day. It keeps me going, gives me tons of energy. It's very easy to digest. It's really the best carbohydrate source you can get. Much easier to digest than cooked carbohydrates like rice or pasta or something like that. And in eating all those carbohydrates, I keep my fat level way down, okay? 10% of total calories. So if I'm eating, 2,500 calories in carbohydrates, then I don't want to eat more than, 250 calories in fat, which is 10%, okay? So once again, with avocado like this, guacamole, something like that, I'm only going to eat about a third of that tonight, and that'll really top me out at 10%. So since there's an epidemic of diabetes in the United States, all over the world really, there's actually millions and millions of people who have diabetes or have pre-diabetes. I think in the United States, it's about 50% of all people have pre-diabetes or diabetes itself, diabetes 2. The reason for that is that they're eating too much fat. Not that they're taking in too much sugar, although I don't recommend taking any refined sugar or added sugar to foods. But they're still eating a lot of pasta and, rice and, crackers and bread and all that kind of stuff. And all that loads them up with sugar, and not to mention alcohol and things like that. And poorly combined fruit occasionally. And so their bloodstreams are loaded up with sugar, which should be powering their muscles, but then they eat 40% fat. The average standard American diet is 40% in fat, so 30% more than they can eat and not risk getting diabetes, because the insulin receptors in their muscles will shut down and won't allow that glucose to exit the bloodstream and fuel their muscles. So you need glucose to do everything and bat your eyes to run an ultra marathon, okay? That's what you need glucose for, and that all comes out of carbohydrates, or, if you want to take the terribly unhealthy route of a carnivore or a, what do they call them, keto, where they're eating all this meat, animal products, very high in fat, then the body has to break that fat down to access the glucose. It's a very long, arduous process. It wears you out, it wears your organs out, and ultimately will lead to serious health problems. So that's basically the story tonight. I'm going to dive into this. It's late, but I had a musical engagement, actually videography. I was doing videography of a kirtan session out at Kalani, and I am going to be performing with these people, probably in June, despite my penchant for singing terrible country songs. I am into devotional Hindu music, and it's very beautiful and very calming and peaceful, and everybody needs a little calm and peace in their life, so I'm getting into that kind of music. And anyways, that's all I got to say tonight. Hope you're having a great Sunday evening. I see Elizabeth is with us. Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're getting something out of this. Something other than a bad country and western cover song about eating chicken and grease in your pan and biscuits with butter on them and all that good stuff. Anyways, signing off. Trace Perot. Adios from the Raw Vegan Cowboy.